If you're looking to create, grow, and sustain your wealth, download and subscribe to the Pain Points of Wealth podcast at BeBullish.com with Bob, Ryan, and Chris Payne. It's your podcast for market insights, money tips, and real talk on the economy. Download and subscribe at BeBullish.com.
Listen, all you New Yorkers. Excuse me, taxi. Okay, we're looking around.
This is the 77 WABC minicast.
The Supreme Court's ruling on tariffs is deeply disappointing, and I'm ashamed of certain members of the court, absolutely ashamed, for not having the courage to do what's right for our country. I'd like to thank and congratulate Justices Thomas, Alito, and Kavanaugh for their strength and wisdom and love of our country, which is right now very proud of those justices. When you read the dissenting opinions, there's no way that anyone can argue against them. There's no way. Foreign countries that have been ripping us off for years are ecstatic. They're so happy. And they're dancing in the streets, but they won't be dancing for long. That I can assure you. The Democrats on the court are thrilled, but they will automatically vote no. They're an automatic no, just like in Congress. They're an automatic no. They're against anything that makes America strong, healthy, and great again. They also are a, frankly, disgrace to our nation, those justices. They're an automatic no matter how good a case you have. It's a no. You can't knock their loyalty. That's one thing you can do with some of our people. Others think they're being politically correct.
Yeah. That, of course, President Donald J. Trump, after the Supreme Court ruled today against his sweeping tariffs. Associated Press headline, Supreme Court strikes down Trump's sweeping tariffs, upending central plank of his economic agenda. But that may not be the long-term headline because the president is pressing on with tariffs. Trump has already this afternoon announced the 10% global tariffs after he criticized the decision and criticized members of the Supreme Court. Justices Gorsuch and Barrett sided with the liberals on the court, nixing Trump's tariffs. You have I believe it was the New York Times, let me just check on that, make sure it is the New York Times. The Supreme Court's Declaration of Independence, and that is what they are calling this ruling. The Supreme Court's Declaration of Independence. What does that mean? You don't even have to delve into the headlines to really understand what they mean by that. Obviously, they believe the court has not been acting as an independent branch of government with the decisions that they've made, siding with the administration. And so today, on a big case, they decided to go against Trump, and according to the New York Times, that is somehow a declaration of independence. Here's the thing. In order to believe that, you would have to believe, which the New York Times does, the liberal talking points about the court being corrupted, about the court being in the pocket of. And to say that all of the rulings that have come down in favor of this administration is simply because the court has refused to show independence is an insult to the members of the court. By the way, Trump insulted some of the members of the court today, too. Let's just be honest about that. In fact, there is, we will listen to more of Donald Trump, but there was a former deputy assistant Attorney General John Yoo was on the Fox News Network today. That's cut 2, Carlos. And he was saying, look, there are other ways. Our show. Yes. Wow, I just jumped right into it. Thank you, Carlos. It is Bo Snerdley's Rush Hour, the I Can't Believe It's Already Friday edition. And I can't believe it's already Friday. It's like we just sat down on Monday, and here we are, Friday. Boom. Fastest hour in American media. Thank you, Carlos. Former deputy, by the way, I asked Carlos, what are we going to do for the first music of the day? And he said, you don't even have to ask. Well, you'll hear it shortly, and you'll know why. The former Deputy Assistant Attorney General John Yoo on Fox News Network today, before the president came out to speak, had this to say. John Yoo.
Figuring out a refund process is going to be, right, the mother of all refund tax seasons, and this is going to be a disaster. But that's up for another day. That's up to the lower courts. In terms of the future, I would actually say, Dana, and I teach trade law and international business law for my sins at Berkeley when I don't get to teach the Constitution. When I teach those, I teach the students. Actually, President Trump could turn around tomorrow and start the process of reimposing tariffs. He doesn't need new legislation from Congress. There are a bunch of federal statutes. They go by fancy terms like Super 301 and Section 232. There are a bunch of existing trade laws. In fact, President Trump can use IEEPA itself. Again, the thing the court is saying is that you have to do it in a certain way. You have to use these trade laws to be specific as to a country and what that country is doing. Is that country a national security threat? So, for example, under the IEEPA law itself, the United States has pursued not tariffs, complete embargoes, 100% cutoffs of trade with countries like Iran, Cuba, and North Korea. If President Trump wanted to cut China off entirely, as some people, I think, in his administration would love, he can use the IEEPA statute to do that. And if he wants to impose more fine-tuned tariffs of 10%, 20%, he can use these other trade laws that I've been talking about that are sitting on the books.
Cut 18, Carlos. Cut 19. After you heard from former Attorney Deputy Attorney General John Yoo, this is one of the things that President Trump said at his press conference.
Although I firmly disagree with the court's holding today, the decision might not substantially constrain a president's ability to order tariffs going forward. That's because numerous other federal statutes, which is so true, authorize the president to impose tariffs and might justify most, if not all, of the tariffs issued in this case. Even more tariffs, actually.
Not backing down. He went on, and we'll listen to one more from Donald Trump, and then we have other things to talk about today as well. I can't wait to hear the discussion that we have tomorrow morning. God willing, we're here for the Saturday extravaganza on these tariffs. We're cut 20. Donald Trump on the ridiculousness, in his view, of the ruling today.
To show you how ridiculous the opinion is, however, the court said that I'm not allowed to charge even $1. I can't charge $1. Can't charge $1. I would have used 1 penny, but we don't make the pennies anymore. We save money. Can't charge $1 to any country under IEEPA. Not $1. I assume to protect other countries. This must have been done to protect those other countries, certainly not the United States of America, which they should be interested in protecting. That's what they're supposed to be protecting. But I am allowed to cut off any and all trade or business with that same country. In other words, I can destroy the trade. I can destroy the country. I'm even allowed to impose a foreign country destroying embargo. I can embargo. I can do anything I want, but I can't charge $1. Because that's not what it says. And that's not the way it even reads. I can do anything I want to do to them, but I can't charge any money. So I'm allowed to destroy the country, but I can't charge them a little fee. I could give them a little 2-cent fee, but I cannot charge under any circumstances. I cannot charge them anything. Think of that. How ridiculous is that? I'm allowed to embargo them, I'm allowed to tell them you can't do business in the United States anymore. We want you out of here. But if I want to charge them $10, I can't do that. It's incorrect. Their decision's incorrect. But it doesn't matter because we have very powerful alternatives that have been approved by this decision. You know, they've been approved by the decision for those that thought they had us. And they're saying that I have the absolute right to license, but not the right to charge a license fee. So think of that. I have the right to license, which is a very powerful word. In many ways, license is more powerful than tariffs. In fact, I was thinking about using it. But they came up with the idea that I can license, just like the people that were opposing me told them to do, but not the right to charge a license fee. Think of that. Who ever heard of such a thing? What license has ever been issued without the right to charge a fee? You get a license, you charge a fee. It's automatic, but not with this court. But now the court has given me the unquestioned right to ban all sorts of things from coming into our country, to destroy foreign countries. But a much more powerful right than many people ever thought we even had, but not the right to charge a fee. How crazy is that?
Yeah. So look, folks, we're not at the end of this battle, as you might hear. We are beginning a new era of it. Again, Donald Trump announced a 10% global tariff today, and I'm sure his administration is going to be looking at the fine details of all of this and the other laws on the books to determine the policy from here. Some Republicans are happy about this. Rand Paul made a statement. I'm searching for it now. I may not find it, but he made a statement in support of the Supreme Court ruling, as did the Mitt Romney replacement out in Utah. This guy, Curtis. Wish you almost had Mitt Romney back. This guy, John Curtis, out of Utah. You folks in Utah, I don't get you. I don't understand these types. So, and of course, Rand Paul was against the John Curtis out of Utah. Today's ruling affirms, despite all the noise of the moment, that the founder systems of checks and balances remain strong nearly 250 years later. Well, that's his view, and that's an admirable view to have, but he also says several questions are unanswered. What happens to the revenue already collected? How the administration may use alternative authorities to impose tariffs, which they are going to do. Looking ahead, it is critical that we provide the clarity and predictability that businesses need. We who? Because if you're talking about the Senate can't even get off its behind to figure out once and for all with clarity what they're going to do with the Save ID Act. Something as simple as voting. What is the Senate? For the most part, it has become a useless body. And the same, by the way, don't get me started with the House of Representatives, but at least the House has acted on this Save ID Act. It's up to the Senate. And we're going to talk about that. We were going to have Connie Hare back today, but I talked to Connie, said, the tariff thing, let's do it Monday. We got to talk to Monday too. We're going to quickly talk to if we can do it. The Fox News, Gianno Caldwell, who Gianno and I have been texting. He's having a big event down at Mar-a-Lago in Florida over, next week sometime. And I just want to catch up with Gianno. Gianno's a brave guy. His brother was murdered, and he has a foundation that he's been working with to try to help. And you know how this goes. Many of the victims of people that have been murdered throughout this United States. We're in a country that cares about the people that do the murdering and less about the people that get murdered, especially if you deal with the left.
Rural Americans deserve access to the best of what our country has to offer, especially health care. Across every state, every community, America's rural hospitals are the first line of defense, protecting our families, neighbors, and loved ones. No matter where you live, hospital care doesn't clock out. They're there 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. Each year, America's over 5,000 hospitals care for millions of patients, providing 24/7 emergency care, delivering babies, cancer treatments, and other life-saving care that patients rely on. Behind every one of those patients are doctors, nurses, and caregivers working tirelessly to keep people healthy and safe. Hospitals are our community's lifelines. They employ our neighbors and keep our families healthy. But now, some in Congress are threatening access to care. Tell Congress, protect patient care to keep America strong. Don't cut rural health care.